Okay, this is all brand new to me here. Wow, it's been a long time since we even had Awesome Toad 21. Anything like the last time we put in any major update was a concert back in the 2022 McDonald's World Convention. People are wondering what is going on now after what high school ended and whatnot, and what are my ambitions or whatnot, and people are wondering what the heck am I even doing these days. Well, as many people knew, for the longest time, I would always debate the living crap out of all the teachers. Because what? We live in a crazy, outlandish society, almost in terms of George Orwell. Like, seriously, in the book of 1984, we have all these, they're tracked constantly by the government. Everything is tracked by the government. Look at today. Look at what we have. We have all these corporations sending informations to the governments, tracking our every single move. Here I am, what, 21 now? Last time I actually made a video of anything, I was probably not even an adult yet. Just coming out of high school. People are wondering, what am I doing? Well, this is what we're going to do. Don't think it's going to work. What if it does? It does, and it'll be great. But I believe in trying to produce is the Republican Party is flawed. The Republican Party does not have the adequate base to reach out to young voters. The Republican Party is not going to be able to get young voters by having all their radio shows and talk AM. AM radio stations are dead. Yeah, I might have old radios and stuff in the back, as you can see there, and microphones and whatnot. Those are all just aesthetics. Other than me, who is weird in first place, who is going to be listening on that? The Democrat Party in itself is designed and is very good at this by using modern technology and everything to win over votes and to propaganda or instill propaganda into these young kids' minds to instill that their party's ideology is correct over everybody else. That's why I am here now. I see a huge generational gap in the age of total autocracy and authoritarianism showing very signs of being in this country. That fears me. Take a look at the robots. Look at robots right now. We have automation taking over every single aspect of their lives. You see at a Walmart or whatnot, two cashiers. The cashier line is getting smaller and smaller every 5 years, being more replaced by robots. What is this going to lead to? It's going to lead to a total breakdown of society as we know it. We are in the middle of facing a world pandemic of shady politics and corruption that it's our generation that's going to be feeling it. People always wonder, why are you agreeing with the way you do? Well, here's the thing. I don't totally agree with all the things Republican parties do. I don't agree with really anything the Democratic Party does. But the problem is that we have too many people out in this country who only watch CNN, who only watch Fox News, MSNBC, Newsmax. There's no middle ground. And the problem is people are being so delusional and beginning what everybody says and doesn't have the opportunity to see for themselves. They don't have the ability to separate themselves and to determine the differences and where the actual line is, because the line is usually always in the middle. The problem that we are facing now is everybody is so polarized based on whether you vote for Trump or whether you like Biden or whatever or not. It doesn't matter. Because right now the entire world is laughing at our face. China, Russia are laughing at our face because they know when we are weak, they can prey on us and they can begin a war on us and we don't even know. China has bought so much US farmland. Think of that. China buying United States farmland. So Chinese government and Chinese companies are going to be able to control our food supply. The United States cannot militarily win a war with China. China cannot militarily win a war with the United States, but they can win a war. Wars doesn't necessarily mean you have the opportunity to put boots on the ground and kill bad guys. That is an outlandish lie. Wars can be anything: social and economic wars, biological wars. Everything that we see all leads up to something. But here's the thing: when you have that happening, if China were to take control of our food source, they can blackmail us to anything they want. Put it out right there. Another thing is you want to make sure that China cannot do this or that and whatnot. These are big problems we're facing right now. We have a war effort in Ukraine, which, to be honest, I don't believe should have ever happened. Do I believe that our support for it? Hell, I wish we didn't have to put as much support as we do. But right now we have a madman in power, and that is Putin. Unfortunately, this is the only way we can actually end this because we have put so much of our resources and our attention there. If we were to pull out of nowhere, that's going to give Putin and everybody a full throw ahead to take over the West and destabilize NATO. What is this? What is this 21-year-old just out of high school does it? Well, guess what? The problem is why I haven't gotten into college. The reason why I have not gotten into college goes back into my years in US History AP, where I found out my grades, because of my political views, were graded much differently than the other people aligned the same political views as what was taught. I am not going to go and get a degree and not be able to have the right to stand for what I believe in, to have freedom of speech and expression. That is what the problem is here. Like, seriously, what is happening in this world is sick. The repercussions of what is going to happen will just happen later. Years will go by. It's us that'll have to be here and deal with it. Whether we can choose to be in a dictatorship or free democracy, I take a free democracy anyway. Having the right to express your opinions is a right that only has been seen in the last 300 years. And one of the big things I would like to say that people do not understand is that the Republican and conservative movement is actually progressive thinking. Then and it's just a back and forth because what the progressives are implementing goes back to a controlled state. Up until the founding fathers and Magna Carta and Holy Roman Empire, or not Holy Rome, home or the Roman Republic, individual liberties and the pursuit of happiness is a very modern thing. Because before, through the dawn of civilization, the modern agriculture, in the first place, what you had was a whole bunch of idiot. You had dictatorships. You can only have this much of food, and if you do not, we will kill you. You can only go to here. If not, we will kill you. Because the society has changed, and the actual progressives are regressive in thinking. So this is where I'm thinking about bringing this whole channel and whatnot. Because I do have to be careful in what I say and whatnot, because YouTube is full of these censoring and whatnot. So I want to bring a different aspect into the world of politics. The aspect of someone who is a far hard right wing voter and very supportive of the right, but has also been raised growing up to question all sides. So not only do I want to call out what the Democrat Party has done wrong, I also want to point out weaknesses of the Democrat Party. I know I've been on a couple of radio shows here and there and whatnot, and Michael Coolidge is a big shout out to him. I've been on a couple morning shows and doing advertising and whatnot. I did radio speaking and speech team for 6 years. And you know why I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore? Because I did not have the right to choose what side of articles I wanted to put in. I was given this paperwork, this page of articles about that thick of news. Every single one of those was left winging. In a society where 50 some years ago, the purpose of a higher education was to be able to know both sides, a free thinking society. That is how our founding fathers wanted this. And now we have a society's higher education being dictated by the World Economic Forum or these billionaires, right? And if you want to get into billionaires, you want to get into billionaires. The biggest flaw I see in the Democratic economic policy is that they've always said we tax the upper 1%. We tax the upper 1%. We tax the rich. We bring down the taxes for the poor. Well, in 2020, and especially even more after the Biden presidency took into office, the rich are continuing to get richer and the poor get poorer. They're destroying the middle class. You see, that's the thing. They say we're only taxing the rich. Well, guess what? If we're only taxing the rich and the rich will be effective, we will not see record number in food stamps. We would not see people protesting and complaining about higher interest. We would not see $5 a gallon gas because those rich billionaires are flying around on their private jets, not giving a crap about what's happening because their companies and everything are purporting this propaganda to make them think that they're the bad guys. Or, but yet they still continue to profit off of this. So you want to talk about that Democrat policy? This is a many things. I can go on this. Hopefully, really think this is, if it does take off and I do end up getting a following off of this, instead of me just ranting on about politics going on, I want to bring in people on all across the aisle and I want to talk to them. I want to have open conversations that are not sitting there rambashing the other sides. Like I was watching Dennis Prager going against David Pacman and whatnot, and other left wing, and I would have to say the problem that you have on these shows, and the right is just as significant as this. The right is just so. So what happens is, what do these commentators want to do? They want to appeal to their base. So if that means shutting out the other side because they are wrong and they are the bad guy, then they're going to do everything they can to empower the situation, overtake that. I don't like that because here's the thing. One thing is looking at both sides of the equation. You go onto the Republican side. What do you see? You see all the Democrats are bad. They're communists. You see all this. Well, I can't say I don't agree with that because I do. But that's not where I'm trying to get at here. Because you go into the Democrat side, you see all the same stuff about the Republicans. Oh, they're a bunch of Nazis. They're a bunch of fascists. And I can't say those things. This is the divide in this country that is caused by these power-hungry parties. And just because you lean to one side of the political spectrum or the other does not put you into one party. I want to be able to bring contrast to that. I want to be able to fully share my beliefs and not have that persecution. I want other people to be able to have their full share and time and not have to worry about their status or their clout and everything just to get views to appeal their base. Because appealing their base does nothing in terms of satisfying or actually having an open conversation because the United States has lost the ability to compromise. Our founding fathers have said with no compromise there can be no nation at all. That's my biggest fear. That we have been so far stubborn in our politics that we are degrading this country as we speak, day by day. Defundamentalizing the morals and our policies and guarded to keep this country safe by our founding fathers. This is the truth. This is the truth. I want to show the truth. This is a very, very dark time in our history, and a time where we need to be stronger than ever. And that this day forward, I can only hope that I get some traction on this because we need to tell what's going on because it's our generation. The one that has been robbed of our graduations and our school education to COVID. We have been robbed by so much. We have been instilled so much propaganda. Depression is at all-time high. Suicides are at all-time high. Drug use is an all-time high. Vaping and cigarettes, or not cigarettes have gone down, but vaping is a national epidemic that is at an all-time high. These are really bad statistics that nobody is covering. and it will only continue to get worse unless both sides can actually come up with something. That is one of the most hideous ringtones ever, and I love it. But yeah, back to the point. It is now more than ever a time to wake up. And for that, I conclude. Thank you very much. I know this is very new. I suck at this right now. Maybe I'll get better and whatnot later on, but I'm hoping this will actually do all right.